Conservatives said that a $15 minimum wage in Seattle would destroy the Seattle restaurant scene. They are claiming that it's already happening. It just so happens that the evidence proves them wrong. Seattle is preparing for an April 1st launch of the highest minimum wage law in the country at $15 per hour. Now, this is a staggered rollout. The $15 per hour on April 1st is only going to apply to the biggest and most profitable restaurants. For small restaurants, there's going to be a phased-in increase, which will take 3 to 6 years. So this is not even going to impact small restaurants in full right away. But it didn't stop a number of conservatives from claiming that restaurants that are closing in Seattle now are doing so preemptively because of the minimum wage increase. The New York Post editorial board, the American Enterprise Institute scholar Mark Perry, Forbes contributor Tim Worstall, Rush Limbaugh, they've all been citing an article in Seattle Magazine from March 4th which said there's a rash of shutterings of restaurants. The conservatives are saying it's because the minimum wage increase is coming. However, it turns out that none of the owners of the restaurants mentioned, which are Boat Street Cafe, Little Uncle, Grub, and Shawnick, actually said this. Boat Street Cafe owner Renee Erickson told the Seattle Times when fact checkers showed up or emailed her to confirm the story, said, "That's weird. No, that's not why I'm closing Boat Street. Erickson's 3 other restaurants are staying open and 2 other ones are in the works. It just seemed like this was one restaurant that Renee Erickson was closing." So that was distortion number 1, Lewis.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to be able to stop this propaganda machine.
The owners of Little Uncle said, quote, "We were never interviewed for these articles." They are closing one of their 2 locations, but they say preemptively closing a restaurant 7 years before the full effect of the law takes place seems preposterous to us. Frank reportedly asked one conservative writer who picked up this total red herring not to make assumptions about our business to promote your political values. And then there's the owner of Shawnick, who told the Times that the closing has nothing to do with wages at all. They're actually being they're making decisions that don't have anything to do with wages. And lastly, Grub's owner said, "We were bought out and rebranded by new ownership because our restaurant is doing so well." So it's quite the opposite of saying that they're preemptively closing because of a higher minimum wage.
This is going to continue, and I imagine you're even going to have restaurant owners who live there who might close down because their food sucks and blame it on this wage hike. So I think the other restaurant owners, the ones who are doing well and the ones who profit or benefit from this, are going to have to proactively come out and say, look, this is working.
Well, conservatives seem desperate to prove that some element of supply-side economics works. And since there's no actual evidence that it does, they need to speculate. They need to make stuff up. The entire point of the article is moot altogether, since businesses won't be fully impacted for several years. And they're just desperate, Lewis. They really want some kind of evidence, even if they have to make it up, to point to that their supply-side economics of tax breaks for the rich and no minimum wage and no regulation, that it works. And history tells us that it doesn't.
And you know what? Now is the time to do it for them, because they want to see this repealed before it really starts going into effect. So I can't blame them for trying to act on it now.